Good afternoon once again, everyone. Welcome to the North Beach Festival. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to have some great music throughout the rest of the afternoon. But before that, we're going to have some great poetry. And poetry is a long-standing tradition in North Beach and a very important part of the history of the neighborhood. And in fact, the North Beach Festival, which was originally the Upper Grant Avenue Street Fair, was the first festival in the United States to have poetry. So here we are continuing the tradition. And I'm going to start off with a few poems of my own before I introduce the other poets. Bodega 8 Coyote and the polka dot gum. Bang, blow cotton, mouth onto a drum. There's gloom in the room like chocolate. Learn Denver is red. Butterflies in toast. Lorca tap danced under a willow tree with words. But Rimbaud was blue with his fun nose in a tin shoe. But because he liked beer, Bukowski was a postman. Yo-yo. Hear ye cuckoo pines, rise your psychedelic whoop. The gooblet whippoorwill swirls round the eye of lollipop. Boom! 2 horses riding kites throw trees. Rubber mandarin ion patters its twig and drops mwabi on naked hips. Shake, collide in the air that, wiggle like tizzy rock and murk in bogged lock. Awenge! Anthill is the moon, glub. Never tip hammock to star. The green man is melon. Zazazimbo rolls. You always save something, Tawaka, for Umanuk and Digger Dodo do. Sog. Octopus sog me, press my face in kiwi, tentacle carnival rhinoceros fat, give me, pluck me, suck me out. Sweet pomegranate, wet kumquat, slick cheetah on a stick, white coconut flavored jism bug, take a little lick. Pink tangerine, my pussy pop, zebra, bloog me, leopard popsicle, swing high. Throw me, rave me, make me. Let me lick your gumdrop. Ah, the astronomic sound, gastronomy swallowed. Eat me, move me, love me, wet my mound of grass. Red. Red eyes surround me, hide the stains, wrap them in petals, dirty cotton, barns in the country. I fall like a crashing jug of wine, watch the berries on the rocks, carried by red ants, squish. I had a cherry box pop. Where is my little red wagon? What is a ton of bricks? Hide, there is a broken, silent echo. Everything is red. The stage. He is red. He has big shoes on the corner with no teeth. He holds up a wig, designs a cheek. The paint might scare the children. He can't juggle. His balloon hats kill the fish. Gum is 5 cents. Each pantomime is a struggle. Roses from torn sleeves fall into an empty cabaret. He honks his nose, sits in a busted chair, takes it off with cold cream. It isn't his job anymore. The line. A government system marked by centralization of authority is a dictator's priority. Crush the opposition, terror, censorship, embrace belligerent racism, the inferiority of non-whites, fear the browning of America, shoot, cage, take away, march in Charlottesville, defend Confederate monuments, carry kill the Jews signs, a torchlight. There was proof that night that our flag was still there, indivisible and justice for all. Don't rise up for the pledge or the banner, bring a hammer. The bombs bursting in air, rock against fascism, stand with the street punks, boots and braces, don't make a racist, fuck skinheads, KKKs, fuck Nazi sympathy. Before the cactus sinks into the ground, go prick your finger. The flowers are dead. The sun is not coming. Pussy goes dry. Before the cactus sinks into the ground, go prick your finger. So thank you. And next, I would like to introduce the next poet, who actually is the founder of the 16th Street and Mission poetry readings, which are on Thursday nights in the Mission, out at the BART station, outside the BART station. And so that reading series actually was named Best Poetry Series in the Bay many years ago by the San Francisco Chronicle. And he also has a new book out. Please welcome Charlie Getter.
Hi, nice people. My name is Charlie. I'm from way down south of Market. I took 2 buses, but I'm here. Oh, look at that. Magic. Okay, ready? And we can go down like that. Hey, awesome. Wait, Bear's here. A story I got. A long time ago, Bear wrote a poem about cheese and told me about it outside of Jen Barone's reading, and I didn't know that he had told me about it, so I wrote a poem about cheese, and I'm going to do the cheese poem instead. In the first place, all the stars came from the sky's bright glistening. The air abounded 10 degrees, and I took off my second coat. The turnstile ate all my $1.50 as I caught a Judah to chase the sun, and through the waves past all the sand were splashing tunas having fun. The fish talked funny and played fish baseball, so I swam out to join the game. I made a friend and brought him home. I call him now Ahi Filet. All the world's lactose intolerant. All the world is scared of cheese. But we have cheese and cheese and cheese, and cheese-o-whiz is here to stay. If you don't like politics and feel the need to move away, join with me, we'll build a nation. Wash it down with Cabernet, 'cause I love cheese. And we'll admit that only cheese need lead our way and save us from the everything that comes along with every day. Oh, you're so pretty, let's make babies. Sell your car, we'll fly to Greece. We'll dance naked on an island, drink and paint our nipples green. I know we can. I have a plan. Every morning sun starts shining from here to serendipity. Patagonian llamas breed on hills that somehow look like Tuscany. All the world's a ball of cheese. All the world loves revelry. So learn to love the curd, you turd. Hearken to this ode to cheese. Oh, hear me please. Like dogs hear fleas. Let's run like 6-year-olds on sugar. Tumble down, we'll skin our knees. Let's light our underwears on fire and hang them from the limbs of trees. Call me Jack. No, call me Gouda. Call me cheddar, Philly cream. My cheese gives me my superpowers. My cheesiness protects me. And if you shoot me over and over, and if you never ever miss, you won't hurt me, no, not at all. You'll simply turn me into Swiss. If you're crawling through the desert with no water, on your knees, this mirage will be our vision, leading us to oases every morning, brings rain on flowers, sun for dogs, and a breeze for man. Every smile opens windows, curtains, turns on ceiling fans. I have a knife and a cutting board, and we'll build our future slice by slice and see the world for what it is. And what is that? It's kind of nice, and that might be a cheesy way to end this, but that's how I'll end this. So, just so. Thank you. Everybody's so far away. It's like, I feel like, I know I'm projected with the thinger here, but I think you can't hear me. It's from the new book. The aura is sucked clean out, like a living, breathing person reduced to a classy-eyed doll. That's Kate Folk. I've re-wallpapered my block, where once you could see cracks, now you can't. They're still there, but you can't see them. I've repopulated Soma streets with Walmart greeters who ask for nothing, just say hello with a hollowness behind their eyes. I've adjusted the color balance of a sky to a marine grayer lay, so all the outdoors is blanched like the set of the Channel 5 news. Not sure what is more shocking, blood or bloodlessness. There was once a river running in place of 8th Street. Before all this, probably no more than a thick brook. And I wonder if the live oaks that now grew at the end of what is now the 600 block of Minna were covered with monarchs and pale blue butterflies. And those strange, thick California deer would graze the high bank where my second floor bedroom window is. I'm not sure if it's true, but it's been said that the city fathers back in the day named the alleyways after their favorite prostitutes. If I squint hard enough, I can see Minna in the light of a kerosene lamp in a sparsely furnished 19th century room. As far as alleys go, Minna is more prominent than most, so I would assume that more than one city father succumbed to her charms. In my mind, she has raven hair. And when she moves, she could be Asian or Mexican or native or Russian or black. In the dim light, she could be anything, but for sure she's always half something and half something else. And somehow, against the circumstance of her times, she overcomes the fate of so many Soma Alley girls and outlives those who paid for her service and tried to win her affection with a street sign or not. Maybe her paramours, the city fathers, named the street to assuage the guilt they felt for treating her the way they did. Her blood on their hands, like the blood on the needles and hand wipes and sidewalks that litter her namesake. Where people punch their feet sitting in the street, trying to summon something where there is nothing. Decorating my Enron with snack cracker wrappers and orange plastic needle caps, and the river that was once 8th Street is again a river, and it has no water, only blood. Drains clogged with bodies, killed by a contagion of despair, and I can't step outside for fear of being swept upon it, and the sky cries blood until it doesn't, and that rare rain falls. A powerful cataract from above, and everything that seemed irredeemable is brightened by heavy clouds, and my neighbor hands a roll of garbage bags out through the gate to those waiting on the sidewalk to be improvised plastic ponchos, and the drains are still clogged, but with the leaves of magnolia trees falling from the branches to imitate armadas of boats, piloted by incompetent sailors, bouncing off each other and wrecking in a pile in a pond caused by the incompetence of the Department of Public Works. Minna, oh Minna, the DPW let you down, and the junkies let you down, just as the city fathers let you down. And I know that I've let you down, especially because everything I know about you, I've made up past your first name. And knowing people in the sex trade, that's probably fake too. But I try to put color in your cheeks and a sparkle in your eyes and bridge our times before you and me and everything that has been, will be, wallpapered over. And your street, my street, our street becomes Salesforce Place or Uber Way, and no one walks on it anymore. It's only traversed by autonomous vehicles delivering organic avocado toast to phallic high-rises. And although avocado toast is delicious, my wish is it can't block your memory or chase you away or me away from you. We still have things to do. Yeah. We got time for one more. Out the window is Argentina. If only my window was like a window from Redmond where I could click something and it opens somewhere, anywhere, but they're not like that in the real world. My window is dirty. I live on the second floor of a sinking ship, and like a rat, I'm sniffing at the ropes, thinking about getting off, like a rat. Memories are scenery, passing past a passing window, and out the window is Argentina, a place that is just a memory or a dream, but more exactly, the memory of a dream. Because what can Argentina be for me if not only a dream? If not only a dream that I struggled to remember so often that it felt so close, but now even the horizon is out of reach. BART strike and all. And how many horizons are between me and Argentina? It won't be easy. You'll think it's strange when I try to explain how I feel when the mist rises off the pampa on a spring morning that is in fall for me, like today, a season so appropriately named this year, because when I fall comically hard. A long, protracted tumble, like a cartoon character, bouncing off every rock, every bramble, head over ass, that's my fall. No graceful collapse for me, no romantic passing out from emotion to be held up in others' arms, no. Rather, a long tumble down a cliff that's too steep to stop on, yet too gradual to fly away from. The Andes have steep mountains. One is Mount Fitzroy, which back in the day was the name for a king's bastard. People die on Mount Everest all the time, but usually from exposure because you lose your oxygen and orientation and way. So, if you're a great athlete and if you've planned well and if the weather holds up and if someone doesn't mess you up and if something doesn't fall down or out from under you, I know that's a lot of ifs. You multiply those ifs by the number of times and that equals a lot of deaths. That said, climbing Mount Everest is more an athletic, organizational, meteorological, and lucky achievement than a test of pure mountain climbing. Unlike the King's Bastard, which only a real mountain climber can get up or even attempt. And it's in Argentina, at least the east half, and I can see it out my window because out the window is Argentina. Wide fields of green and greener and cows. Lots of cows. Cows with style. Munching grass with bravado, brave cows and gauchos who both know what a good steak is and are willing to die for same, one more than the other. And the cities glow, where every street is lined with cafes with black iron tables and trees with golden bark. And in the dusky half glow, someone appears with a viola, and then everyone finds someone. And tango happens, and candles happen, hanging from the trees. and the birds sing in the trees, singing sadness, and everyone's heart breaks, and they love each other because they have to, but Argentina's out the window because the wind blew, and Argentina caught the draft and wafted away, and I can watch it floating on the wind, and a breeze blows up underneath it, and I'm jealous that Argentina can be so airy and finds its way so easy. So after watching for a while, I close my window and sit on a chair.
Once again, Charlie Getter. And the next poet that I'd like to introduce is also an organizer of readings in the Bay Area. For a long time, she had a series called Word Party, which was a poetry and jazz series. Please welcome, and she's also a resident of North Beach. And please welcome Jennifer Barone.
Oh my gosh, shout out to Charlie Getter, shout out to Jessica Loos for putting this together. Yeah, come on, please. Jessica is amazing. Keep holding it down for poetry in North Beach. North Beach, where the poets live. Somewhere in between fog and gold horizons, we're a home for wanderers and daydreamers who need to be cradled in the breast of the city. She takes your heart, she folds you in her curve, a foghorn siren claiming your destiny to confront instability. And San Francisco knows because San Francisco lives on dancing earth and shaking ground. This place for quiet night alleys, wandering conversations over Italian coffee, red wine on white-capped streets where church steeple guardians watch over you, and cannoli crusts encase you, and mission bells pierce your skin. In the golden gate of giant nature, this land where no one and everyone belongs. Love omens have brought me here to North Beach, to my little Italy, to the home of the poets, leaving everything, my life in a single suitcase, knowing you were named after my favorite saint, the saint who wants everyone to live in paradise. And so I live close to his shrine, and I pray when no one is there, and I ascend steps to the poetry room, and I confess my sins to rooms full of poets and jazz musicians on Tuesday nights. I just returned to Naples. So Charlie took you to Argentina. I will take you to Naples. Give me Napoli. You can keep Florence. You can keep Rome and Tuscany. Give me Naples. Let the tourists be warned off by pickpockets and mafiosi. Let catacomb skeletons loom under soot-encrusted alleys, and the ghosts of ancestors rise through cracks like sulfuric fumes of the Campi Flegrei. Let Vesuvio stand guard, threatening its eruptions and ash. Let me have the bay to myself. Its half moon and all the stars, let them send fleeing, waving hand gestures, fending off tourists. Let the saints who have been burned, incarcerated, poison, tremble with the nerves of the uninitiated. Let me have Naples, with its graffiti, with its lovers wearing ripped jeans, kissing side straddle on Vespa with charcoal eyes. You can have the Accademia, you can have the Lago di Como, you can have Cinque Terre, you can have all the Duomos and their decadence, the olive groves and the vineyards. Don't get off at Garibaldi Centrale, forget the Circumvesuviana, leave the ferry ports vacant for me, let all the islands disappear in the fog, cast off by tribulations of Medusa and the sirens. Only the heartbroken can understand her, the lovelorn on the verge, the sunken passage to the underworld, who can converse with the Sibyl, who can live on egg-shelled fragility. Give me Naples, give me Naples. Let me have it to myself. vulgare, colloquial, voice of the people, words spoken in dialetto. You have to be careful how you use that word, she says. You do not want to be vulgar, but maybe I do sometimes. Street music on the Spacca Napoli, a man plays a mouth organ stepping on a rubber chicken and makeshift foot pedals. You've never seen this before, never heard it said that way, never tasted something quite like this. A man sings opera in the corner of an ancient building, spray painted with graffiti near Teatro San Carlo, where only the audience played card games, chatting while performers sang, high notes, grabbing people's attention, grabbing the heart of the people, can be a little rough sometimes. Their sense of humor, not so quiet on the corners and aging corridors and side streets that they tell me not to walk through, but I wander them anyway. The towns they tell me to stay away from, I want to see. Take the train, they say, is too dangerous to get there. To go where the real people live, stay where they live, eat the foods they love to eat, sing the music they want to sing, excavate the heart of longing in the places where people want me to forget. Around the sacred sites, I can see the ancient and overlooked weeds that carry medicine. The sirens have a sense of humor. After all, they made this city, became the land, protected the ports, inspired songs of longing. They too, scaly and sharp around the tooth, apprehensive, unapproachable, adored their powers, hidden and mysterious, looking over the pier, the ghostly shape of a fin passing. There's a type of food in Italy called cibo cattivo. It's usually sometimes made during festivals and feasts, just like this, but it's usually made in a kind of a sexual connotation. So cattivo means bad, so it's bad food. Cannoli is one of them. Actually, I was listening to one of the tourists in front of St. Francis talk about cannoli being representative of a phallus and actually coming from Africa during fertility rituals. So might be a form of cibo cattivo. Eating virgin cake shaped like breasts, zizona mozzarella, bouncy bufala nipples, crusty snakes eat their own tail. We ingest infinite wisdom, sacred body of bread held on the tongue, to not only know, but taste knowledge. We must experience with 5 senses, sacrifice the density of life in our fingers, St. Agatha's breasts filled with marzipan, dotted with cherries, tricolore pricks of angels, pussies made of pasta, a fertility festival inside the mouth, an agricultural orgy in front of clergy, the virility of cannoli filled with cream inseminating spring. Do we enter, as it enters us, into dimensions of ecstasy? The nipples of Venus are bonbons. And what to say about eggs, dangling salami, warm chestnuts, babalucci of spiral shells, when milk poured from maternal fountains, the alchemy of luminous time. Eat sacred bread, drink sacred wine. And then I'll read one last poem. If you could take your mind back to the beginning of the COVID pandemic, where everybody was sort of panic buying food and toilet papers and all these things. For me, it was pasta, so this is pasta. At the end of the world, my first instinct is to panic buy jars of tomato sauce and as many bags of pasta that will ease my worried mind. And in doing so, I realized that pasta will save us, as it saved thousands of starving people before the war and after the war. Once we found we could dry pasta and keep it on the shelf forever, pasta will save us. Just crack an egg into the volcanic crater of some flour and move your fork like a tornado, and just like magic, you have pasta. Pasta is going to save us. In the time of floods, in the case of not being able to leave your home for infectious disease or any kind of fear in general, like a magic spell over a stirring cauldron, piping hot pasta will save you and comfort you with its little smiles of macaroni, with its infinite shapes spelling out SOS. To anyone who will hear, she sings messages of hopes formed into trumpets touting salvation, with its bow ties and its butterfly wings that lift you on prayers with a full belly and a few hours of satisfaction. She will ease your anxiety with memories of warmth and of mom and of home and of family. The shelf stability of pasta brings stability into this unstable world spinning off its kilter. Pasta will save us and make me believe that it was not fish, but pasta that quickly multiplied to feed the masses. And Sophia Loren, who proclaimed, all of this I owe to pasta, as she twirled and she waved her hands around the curves of her bodacious body, and in wisdom she knew that our bodies are truly molded like pasta. We are made of pasta, and so it is with confidence that I neatly stack with reverence and respect each bag of pandemic pasta, bowing to the grain goddess and the egg of infinite creation that makes the pasta, one on top of each other, neatly stacked with my utmost gratitude and respect. I kiss the earth, and I am the salt of the earth, because I know that pasta will save us. From pasta we came, from pasta we will return, like the Nonas knew, like our mama knows, because mama knows everything, and my instincts know that this, all of this, deep within the spaghetti rivers of tomato blood and arterial tubes of bucatini that lead to hearts that know that pasta was here before us, and pasta will be here after us, and we shall survive, because there's some pasta on the shelf, and it's piled in a box in the corners of my living room. If you want to hear more about pasta, I have a book called Saporoso, Poems of Italian Food and Love, and it's sold at the new and really beautiful Libreria Pino that just opened up on the corner here, which is now an Italian language bookstore, and also now Italian American poets and artists, and some English books as well. So check out Libreria Pino and Telegraph Hill Books right on this corner. New bookstore. Thanks, everybody.
Once again, that was Jennifer Barone. And the next poet that I would like to introduce is also a very respected translator, and he also organizes a reading series at the store that he works at in Glen Park, Bird and Beckett, which is a very lovely bookstore. If you've never been there, you should definitely check it out. So please welcome Michael Koch.
This is a poem written in response to a poem by the renowned North Beach poet Ronald Sauer, who is no longer with us but is beloved in our memories forever. And in the poem he mentions that the sun is the only thing that never told him to get a job. It's called Full Employment for Ron Sauer. I want a job as a vortex of fire in the bloodstream of a moth. A job as vertigo with regular raises and incandescent coffee breaks. A job as a blurry photo, a feather, a basket of tropical fruit atop a dancer's head. I want a job like the biblical pariah Job. A job as a broken windshield. A job coveting the wives of strange gods before me. A crimson sunset kind of job for a thimble of light. I want a job I can do red-handed with a case of bootleg whiskey and stars for a metronome. I want a job screaming at the sun. You underemployed son of a bitch, get a job. This is called Jazz Sessions. It was written during the tenure of that infamous Attorney General of Trump's named Jeffrey Beauregard Sessions, who, in the sad history of American Attorney Generals, he distinguished himself for viciousness, ineptitude, degenerate racism, etc. This is entitled Jazz Sessions. I dreamed the Attorney General was named Jazz Sessions and could sing, shimmy, and swing like a river of clemency. I dreamed the Education Secretary fingerprinted sparrows in a sandbox as she channeled the wisdom of Lumumba, Lorca, Tecumseh, and Li Po. I dreamed the Labor Secretary knew slavery begins at home in the dark pocket of profit, and that the Secretary of the Treasury knew real gold is an intangible essence beyond the reach of fools.
Eventually. Yeah. So eventually.
A heat wave of black pennies. Such is the night, such is the trolley to darkness. Heaven is a ladder on fire. Hell is the other white meat. Throw the ghosts on the train, the blueprint of a bone. You won't ignite the wind with kisses. There is nothing to lose but your least favorite tattoo, the crimson tiger that devours your drunkenness. Thank you. This is called And Dream Of. The four wheels are wind. I'm winding down fast. My clarity is blinding. My blindness can't last. The four winds are walls. My maps are wrong. The days fall short. The odds grow long. Darkness illumines my bloodshot heart. I wear a mask that falls apart. I'm sick and tired. Life's wild and sweet. I drown in ice and dream of heat. Prayer to the Great Void. Teach me, omniscient conundrum, sweetest of lies, apex of apices, scourge of the wise, about finance and fiasco, forensics and doom. In the madhouse of holiness, reserve me a room. It's entitled Nature Lover. Who doesn't love the myth of nature? The golden hues and caressing skies, its eerie precision and wild caprice, its indigo flotsam and scarlet jetsam, its majestic rivers, rutabagas and kittens, to say nothing of black holes replete with nothingness. Why I love even the snakes that poison us, strangle us, and lead us astray. The red-eyed rats that devour our infants as we sleep, the green sunshine like a tropical holocaust, the blue azaleas like fistfuls of sand, the snowblindness and thirst as we root in the mulch of our delusions. Ah, nature. What better than trudging through the thistles, collecting a bouquet of crutches and cell phones? Once, or stumbling through the woods with a verse of nature poets tripping off our tongues. Once, combing the beach for shrunken heads, I even found an extinguished star whose light has yet to reach the earth. This is called, But My Real Wealth is in Harriet Tubman $20 bills. Of course, many of us are still waiting with bated breath for that item of currency to be around. Andrew Jackson, by the way, was another extraordinarily reprehensible gentleman. But my real wealth is in Harriet Tubman $20 bills. The trek from callow youth who knew little to old man who knows less was arduous, but not without its sublime buffoonery and confusion. I mixed a few metaphors, participated in my era's epistemological crisis, and danced some polyrhythms to a dead heat. I often went too far or pulled up short. I cried wolf when I should have cried fire. I pigeonholed the parrots but let the ravens run free. I was a tongue-tied polyglot, a hapless grammarian skulking in back streets for the golden word. As for the moon, I inhaled its dark fragrance. As for the stars, I let them sweat. They say time flies. When the moon is no longer visible, people say it is roasting a pig. Everything has tiger. An astronaut said, even a feather bed is hard after months of weightlessness. Texas real estate law states land starts at the center of the earth and continues on into space. We vacillate between Baroque invention and bare bones. We smell the small blue flowers around the missile range, see the sniper hiding in a sandpaper's nest. As for unseemly addictions like intelligibility, there are no winners or losers. Go to the sea to see the water sing. This is not the Congo cat's first rodeo. It's been around the block more than once. Between old age and the one-trick pony, fast twitch muscles stammer to a crawl. The jasmine-scented molasses seem supersonic. Where is Ptolemy's earth-centered universe now? And the old sitcoms we watched from Father Time's caboose. A couple more. This is called Behind the Eight Ball, Celebrating a Book. Having definitively resolved the perennial question, who wrote the Book of Love, I booked passage on a sinking ship bound for Neptune. I still yearned for a sumptuous silence, a cool, refreshing rain that sizzled on the tarmac as it fell, your incendiary nakedness under a thin sheet like a fever. Why did I break the ice? Why was I broke? Why did I nestle like a broken wing behind the eight ball's polished thunder? And the angels smell like cigarettes. Numbers have hard exteriors. They converse with death in mocking tones, but there's no hurry. Inertia is the blinding light that illumines everything. One photo shows my mother as a teenage dancer in a tropical revue with waist-length blackberry curls. The other photo shows a chariot of pure gold drawn by mice. It's rush hour, fish everywhere, unfastened kimonos, pitiless Aztec poetry drowning in green blood. Where are my good intentions murmuring nevermore? Give me some pulque and scalding tar. My keys are lost, they've fallen far. Oh, we sang at the top of our lungs from the tip of rusted girders a song for Che, and sipped a rough-hewn chalice. And when laughter slowed and cold wind blowed, cobbled together stout hearts immune to time and suffering. Yes, the North Star is a feisty brunette who chews the ice of dark matter. But whose floor will we sleep on if we give up our vengeful gods? Now I'll conclude with this, entitled Uninvited Guest. They accused me of lust. They accused me of looting. I was a hotspot of lies and alliteration. They beat my brain with brawn and my shadow with ghosts. My own mother set Notre Dame on fire. And then I came to your party naked, wearing just an elegant shoe. Great. Hey, thank you.
Once again, that was Michael Koch. And thank you everyone for being such a groovy audience. Sometimes people run away when I say poetry before the poetry starts, but then people end up sticking around because they get into it. But the next poet / performer that I'd like to introduce is Lewis Jordan, who's gonna rock it out a little bit with some poetry and saxophone.
This is a poem, this is my attempt at a contemporary take on a poem by Gil Scott-Heron. The revolution will not be liked or friended. The revolution will be face to face. The revolution will not be digitized. The primary normal relation won't be binary communication. Either or will not compute. Both and will be at the root. Human inclusivity will be realized. The revolution will not require you to upload a photo or download a link. There'll be no invitation to a cause, no more intellectual property laws. There'll be no call for another petition and no need to see last hour's edition. The revolution will require you to think. The revolution will not be liked or friended. The revolution will be face to face. The revolution will not have its head in the cloud or up its ass. The hope for the ethereal won't blind us to the imperial. The setting will be from our own references. The system will run according to our own preferences. The revolution will redefine class. The revolution will not wait for your comment or reply. The revolution will be a dancer. That'll be one answer. The revolution will drop boxes and misguided labels. It'll separate the morals from the fables. We will be the people on whom we rely. The revolution will not be liked or friended. The revolution will be face to face. This poem has one word in the title spelled 3 different ways. American Idol, idol, idol. As we sit back and watch with nothing better to do than to admire the brave ones try to be more than me or you, we see the freedom some have in this random opportunity to stand up for what they believe and sing out of tune with impunity. We see stars with no twinkle. We wave and grin all the same. This vast land in our home full of fruit and still so very plain. Oh, say, can we see what's on? Oh boy, I'd love to turn it off. As we sit back and listen, having nothing else to do than to wait for someone with word how to finally get through, we hear what we don't need and the sounds that are hardly there. Whether we're going up or down, the music says, don't even care. We hear voices, not people, who have in fact nothing to say. That was not a valid option. We have choices, but no other way. Oh, say, have you heard the news? It's old, it's ripped off, it's still the blues. As we sit back and huddle, having nothing left to do than to count our losses, not many called, no chosen few, we get the feeling we should know when a little becomes too much. We like to stay inside our limits, but we still feel out of touch. We feel that there's a difference somebody, somewhere else can make. And in the meantime, we feel nothing is worth the trouble it might take. What if we all wore gloves that didn't fit? Would we all be innocent? Crimes of omission, crimes of passion, crimes of commission, crimes of rationality detached. We can't focus on what matters. It's hard to focus at all for longer than the law allows. A 15-second commercial to tell lies with a disclaimer, spoken so fast, written so small, if you can't keep up, sorry, y'all. You might have nothing to do, but meanwhile, somebody's working overtime to see that you stay idle. This poem is inspired by the landscape at Rainbow Basin here in California. Like water, seeking my own level, I flow this way and that around indissoluble objects. My thoughts separate and then run together, unearthing bits of old life forms, exposing places where imprints were made before I can remember. Anyone who wants can see through me, can even know where I've come from. I approach resistance the same as you, the less, the better. Yet the paths that seem so worn now, once were never traveled. While the immovable ones limited, but never defined me. Peace. You cannot imagine, or maybe you can, what it was like to be young, black, and lifted out of your element into a solution of other folks' problems. Thinking long and hard on the visible part of the spectrum until awakening to what can't be seen. A blessing, sounding the depths, unposed, renewed. A portrait of how someone could feel, of how someone felt. A lonely man or a lonely woman. dedicated to Charlie Parker, also known as Bird. Ornithology needs no apology, in that we trust. For anthropology, like archaeology, dig we must. You put your whole life in, you blow your whole life out. You take us for a spin and you leave us here to shout. You drop the okie dokie and you turn the world around. That's what it's all about. You put your fast foot down, you move a half step higher. You take a whole breath in and you blow it with a fire. You drop the okie dokie and you turn the world around. That's what it's all about. Be is a verb, bop is the word. Everybody's heard about the bird. Straight as a gate, narrow is the way. Bop is on top, music is a play. Black is a brother, round is a face. Blue is a color, sound is a chase. What is the reason? How is the rhyme? This is the season. Now is the time you put your best foot forward. You take the next step out. You put your whole self in and you shake it all about. You drop the okie dokie and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Seeing is believing when it comes to both what peeping, but hearing makes it clear that we found we've been seeking. Listen and you'll get it, don't and you'll regret it. It'll touch your heart for sure. Cure if you let it. Can you dig it? Are you in the mood for some back home blues and bird food? Can you dig it? Nothing left to prove. It's in the pocket, in the bag, in the groove. You're up and then you're down. Nobody but yourself to help you turn it around. The celerity is melody, leaves poverty in the dust. Confirmation is harmony, a welcome note, a steeplechase, a merry-go-round, and that's all she wrote. Thank you.
Yeah.
Once again, that was Lewis Jordan. So after listening to him playing that groovy axe, I'm going to read a couple of my axe poems. Axe number 1. He tweaks on the mouthpiece all day, and he washes his thing in the sink. He calls the horn bitch, then chews on a stupid reed. Axe number 2. He bends down, scoops up the air with his horn, and shovels dirt. His reed gets him on the way back up. He growls arg and keeps on playing. Axe number 3. His back arches like a turtle, its shell about to snap. Compared to the speed of his fingers, he blows atonal blues, bebop phrases that end fast. He fights the metal. His hat stays on somehow. Acoustics bounce back at him. His toes curl up in concentration under his shoes. Embouchure wins. And this is a poem called Until that I actually wrote for a little chapbook that my friend Elizabeth Ashcroft produced, and she had asked people to write a poem about the word fallow. So this is the poem that I wrote, Until, about the word fallow. When crop disappears in late autumn and the soil already waits, is it the birds leaving, or is it the gypsies who don't arrive dancing on the lands? And this is a poem called Aquatic Park, about Aquatic Park down at the wharf here. aquatic park. The deceived sea, full of fish, seaweed. Its salt fizzes in sands, then the waves recede back into the rest of water, taking things. The Marin Hills, hazy, gray today, bored in the white fog light, holding up the bridge. A fishing boat motors by, headed for the fair lawns to dump pots for crab. A seal butterflies past the SS Jeremiah as the sun drowns in the tide, closing in on shifting water. And I'll read one more. We're going from Aquatic Park, San Francisco now to Seagirt, New Jersey. And this is a poem that I was actually asked to write for a magazine in Austria, and the theme was chess. You had to write a poem about chess. Seagirt. It was Seagirt, New Jersey, at Pat Dodd's, across from the ocean, that I first watched my father and some other guy playing the game. I jumped out of the velvet chair, got a bowl of vanilla ice cream, topped it with creme de mint. I slurped it. That was the day we had to crack the lobster with the green Pontiac, and I slept in a canopy bed, crashing with waves, checking out. Lena of Estonia, European child chess champion, gave her moves up for poker. It was in the cards, and it wasn't the lobster's hand. Anyhow. And also, at the North Beach Festival, I always try to, make acknowledgement or take notice of some of the comrades that we've lost in the poetry scene in the community over the years. This year we've had a bunch of them, but my friend Pat Monk here would like to say a few words about some of those people.
Thank you. This is just a shout out from a groundling. Among the many people missing in action that we have lost recently are Jack, Rosemary, and Tony. And I would just like to tell them all that we love them, we miss them, we still hear them, so please rest in poetry. Thank you.
And so that was, he was mentioning Jack Hirschman, who was a former poet laureate of San Francisco, and a friend of many of ours, Rosemary Mono, who was also a poet, and our friend Tony Ryan, who was a known bookseller and neighborhood curmudgeon, who we will all also miss. Thank you once again for all the poets who read. A round of applause, please, and thanks for being a great audience. I did also want to mention when I read that poem a minute ago, Until, that my friend Elizabeth made the book. She actually has a gallery up the road here called Live Worms Gallery up here on Grant between Green and Vallejo, and there's a really great art show going on in that gallery right now. It's a pop-up show just for the weekend, which a bunch of my friends are in, so you should definitely check it out. And so we're going to be back in a few minutes with some great music by two guitarists and some vocals, Teague Kernan and Benjamin Andrews.